It's Oklahoma Archery. Everything archery based out of Oklahoma for Oklahomans. Let's get it started. Hello, everybody. I'm David Bouska.
I'm Neil Cooley. And this weekend we have our very own Oklahoma State Unmarked 3D champion, Mr. David Griffin. How you doing, bud?
Hey, I'm doing well. How are y'all today?
Very well.
Well, I'll give you a hint. One of the two of us is really hoping the wind dies down so they can go check their outside marks. And it's not Dave. It's not. So if the wind will lay down here in a couple hours and I can check my marks before we leave out for Metropolis tomorrow, that would be awesome. But if not, it's full sender, bud.
Hey, you got it. We saw you shooting yesterday. You got it all under control.
Yeah, till those three misfires went about 3 feet high. It took me. I got a couple new buttons, and it took me exactly 1 day of shooting it before I didn't even touch it at full draw, and the thing was firing. So I talked to them, and they said might have been too little travel, but I did the pull it back till it fires with it cocked, and had plenty of travel in it. I tightened it all the way down, made it too heavy, lightened it up a little bit, shot it here at 3 yards at home. This is the third release that's misfired on me in the past month, and multiple brands, multiple models. Some of them have already been fixed. So I guess there is such thing as pulling too hard. I don't know.
Hey, them hinges, they don't ever misfire, man.
Yeah. Unfortunately, the hinge hits right where the pin is, and the pin's not always where I want it to be. So I don't know. Dave and I have decided that we're button people.
Yeah, that I am, no doubt. One button or two buttons, doesn't matter. I can hit them.
There you
David,
go.
tell everybody where you're at and what you do.
I live down here in southwest Oklahoma. I actually live in a little town called Elgin. I'm a welder by trade, but I don't really do my trade very much anymore. I've kind of moved into other things. So that's mainly about all I do. It seems like shoot my bow here lately. I've gotten to where I'm just completely ate up with it.
Well, tell us about that, the bow.
Well, which one? I've got a closet full of them over here. Right now for 3D, I'm shooting a Darton Exodus Pro that I am absolutely in love with. It's been a great bow for me. When I shoot field and any of the orange dot stuff or any skinny arrow stuff, I'm shooting an Exodus. And then for hunting this year, I'm going to shoot a sequel, 35. I've got really big on the Darton train.
Sounds like it. Can't understand why. There's quite a few out there right now.
Yeah.
Did you see on social media the newest addition to the Dartons of Okie crew?
Yeah, I saw that. I couldn't. I kind of was wondering how that was going.
Yeah, we got us another one converted. I told him he couldn't come back on the podcast till he put that title down. So that's all it took in a 9-hour car ride with Ryan and Kyle, and old Josh Jacobson looks like he's going to roll out the 35 for the Pro-Am.
Yeah.
But David and I are two of the only that I know of Darton shooters that are shooting the 37 instead of the 35 for their target stuff. So hats off to all the full-grown boys out there that are shooting a full-length axle-to-axle bow.
I wish they'd get a 40.
Don't hold your breath on it, man.
I know nobody likes them big bows, but I'm a pretty big guy. I know, Dave. We're about the same stature.
Yeah.
I like that string angle.
I like it too. Yeah.
Yep.
Even a 39 starts changing, and the 38 I'm out, done. I would not mind at all if a few of these companies stepped it back up to 40 and a half or 41. I'm all in.
Oh yeah, absolutely. The string angle is such a big deal to me. I've got a humongous head, and with that 37, I've got to really be mindful of my anchor point, or I really start ducking down on that string. I can't get it quite to line up the way I want it, but it takes a little bit of work, and I've got it figured out, I think. Well, figured out for me.
Have to put a D loop on it and about a 1 inch long nose button or something.
Yeah, exactly. You think with this big old nose of mine, it'd be easy.
Yeah. Then the peep is so far out there, just like any little movement.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
What are you liking about this year's model Exodus? I know you still shoot the last year's model for your skinny arrow stuff, but tell everybody that hasn't shot one yet kind of what the new model is doing for you.
Oh, the draw cycle on this new bow is so much better. We're actually, the two bows, they actually have the same risers on them, but they've got different cam setups, and the draw cycle is so much smoother. I'm shooting 73.5 pounds out of mine, and I shoot it all day long. Like, I love it's easy. It pulls smooth. It feels like a 62 or 63 pound bow, where my Exodus, it's at 62 pounds, and it's a workout after a while. It's got a big fall off, it kind of spikes up and then it falls down. And once you get set, everything's good. But that big spike and feeling it, well, you can feel it after 100 arrows or so.
Yeah, field is David's one of the few people that likes to shoot some skinny arrows still. So we're trying to get some more field going. We're trying to find somewhere to do an orange dot tournament down here. We got some big stuff in the works between Oklahoma City and middle of nowhere Southwest.
Yeah.
So this past weekend, you went up to opposite side of the state, Wagner, Oklahoma, for the OSAA State Unmarked 3D. So tell everybody. I know we hear a lot about the ASA in Oklahoma. Tell everybody what Wagner had going on this last weekend.
Well, it's just basic. I mean, it's an unmarked 3D shoot. We shoot center 12s, which is a little different in the ASA game. But other than that, I mean, they said they had a 45-yard max this year. Now, we were judging, so I don't really know what the yardages were, but I don't think there was anything over 40. I think the longest target we had was 40, 41 yards right in there. Everything else was closer. It played right into the game that I play in the ASA, is that I'm shooting an open 40 in the ASA, so went up there and is real comfortable for me. I'm used to seeing the targets. They do have a mixture of the Delta McKenzies, and they've got some Reinhardts, and that kind of it bit me in a few places this weekend that I wasn't used to seeing the targets, and I made some boo-boos on setting my sight that they cost me a little bit, but it was a great time. Roger and them do a great job up there every year. And they, if you just walked across the course, you wouldn't think that they could deceive you with target placements the way they can with little drainages and rock piles, and boy, they did a good job this year.
I like Wagner. The terrain, it's an easy to walk course. Your lanes are big, wide open canopies, just like this. So you're really not shooting through a lot of shrubbery. They're very well manicured, and we've been friends with Roger and them for my whole life. I mean, I was practically raised out there. So Wagner is a great course. They also do a lot of indoor stuff in the wintertime. So if you're anywhere up around the northeast part of Oklahoma, definitely go check out Wagner Archery. I think they got a local shop there. Tybo's is just about 5-6 minutes away from it. So you got a pro shop close, you got indoor, you got outdoor. They do a lot with that range out there. Great people for sure. How'd you like the center 12s, man? Is that not just the best thing ever, going from uppers and lowers to middle?
Well, it did. I really had to think about my game a little bit. I really play the fall of the arrow in the unknown game, and I don't have as far to fall. It's like, I go from having about 3.5, 4 inches to fall out of if I make a mistake to 2.5, 3 inches, and it can bite you if you're not careful. If you're really gunning for them, you make a couple yard mistake, and then boom, you're out of it. There's an 8. Like, what you're working hard for is gone pretty quick.
Do you aim middle, or do you aim at the top of them coming from the fallen unknown yardage?
And I want to aim in the big middle of where I want to hit. I need all the grace I can get with the way that pin moves for me some days.
There you go. Well, tell us tell us a little bit more about your setup. What are you running for your 3D?
3D for on arrows, I'm running PS25 Black Eagles. I've got 165 grains up front on them to get it slowed down. Like I said, I shoot a lot of draw weight, and they'd be pretty fast if I didn't have a bunch up front. I shoot a bowfinger sight with a bowfinger scope, shoot 35 millimeter housing, try to let in a little more light. And then I'm shooting Big Daddy bowstrings, or Hybrid Pro ham ski rest, and that's about it. I've got Conquest bars. I got a 33 out front and a 15 out back with.
Ooh.
I've got 24 out back and I think 16 out front right now. Kind of a weird combo, but with some issues I'm having, it's holding steady for me.
16 on a 33-inch bar, buddy. That's a bar.
It takes a little bit of holding weight to hold that one up.
Yeah. What size fiber and what clarifier and lens magnification?
I've got a Clear Choice 6X in there right now, and with a 19 thou fiber, and with that bowfinger sight, I've still got. I'm not all the way out, but I'm a good little ways out. That's kind of. It's not really where I wanted it to be, but that's where I got everything cleared up for my eyes, so where it's kind of worked. And man, it's been a great setup for me. At 50 yards, I can see the rings if there's any daylight. Like, it has made a big difference.
You're also shooting a 6 power at like 31-inch draw.
Yeah, I am. I've got it 30 3/4 right now. So if you put that out there, I've got quite a bit of magnification. It's pretty up close and personal.
Yeah, I say. There's your pin float, bud. There's your that's where that's coming from.
Well, on the good days, I can just almost stop that thing and everything goes good. And then it kind of freaks you out when it happens, but it happens. It's starting to happen more and more often. And I really like to know exactly where my pin is. It kind of amps my confidence up. If I know that pin's floating right there at that lower, at the bottom side of that upper 12, I can execute with confidence and just move through my shot. And there it is. That's where it's going. And hopefully that's where it lands. So it helps me mentally more than anything. That pin float, it doesn't bother me. It can wag all at once. I know where it's going.
What release are you shooting?
I shoot a Scott Ascent. I've got 2 or 3 of them. They're all set up slightly different. Some are hot, some are cold, some are super hot. And I keep them in my release pouch, and I just grab one and go with it. So it's kind of I keep the surprise really happening.
That's the dual moon where you can adjust.
Yes.
Yeah, I thought it was.
Yeah, I've got them all set to where they click, because I run a click. Everything clicks at about the same place so I can get set. And once I roll to my click, I'm in the same position with every release, but the travel thereafter varies quite a bit in between those 3 releases.
That's got to be handy. So you don't have to take it apart. You just set screw it.
Yep. Yeah. You undo one screw, and then you can adjust your distance in between your click and then when it fires, and then you can screw that screw in and another screw. You can adjust your distance to your click also. So it's basically infinitely, and you can set it up a million different ways.
Yeah, there's a couple of companies out there that've got them, and I played with that Ascent. It's just that back tensions just did not work for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I would prefer to have a thumb button and command a shot, to be honest with you. But I seem to get a little flinchy and do a couple pump fakes, and I was really trying to get away from that. So the back tension's where I'm at.
I respect that. Absolutely.
I fought the hinge all weekend long trying to figure out how much push and pull to put in the bow to steady it up. And it was really a struggle to put the RPMs in the red and relax my hand into that shot. So about halfway through our Indiana orange dot, I pulled the button back out, and we were back there squeezing and pulling and bending that thing in half. So there's different ways to shoot a bow. I know, David, you've been training at close distance here in the last month or 3 weeks or month.
I'm going, I think today's day 39 of Operation Kill Target Panic, man.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
I like that.
tell everybody what this program you're participating in is.
I got bit by the target panic demon probably September of last year, and I have fought it, and I've fought it, and I've done everything. And I was scrolling around on the internet about 2 months ago, and I found a George Riles deal, and he said, get as close as you can get to it and shoot a 30X game. And I said, okay. And I went out to my garage, and I've been doing a lot of blank bailing. And at 7 yards, I went out there the first night and I shot a 30X game. I said, okay, now I'm going to shoot 50 of them. And after I shoot 50 30Xs at 7 yards, I go to 9 yards. And when I shoot 50 30Xs at 9 yards, I go to 11. And so I'm going to walk that back 2 yards at a time until I'm at 21 yards. And that's where I'm going to practice at. And my thoughts there are, if I can do it at 21, I can dang sure do it at 20. So it'll be a little bit of a confidence boost. Things will be a little closer than they would be. It'll be different than what I'm shooting at the house when I go to a competition. It'll be 1 yard closer, and that's, it's measurable.
So 8 distances, 50 games apiece. That's 400 30X games from 7 to 21 yards.
Yeah.
Dang.
Yeah. It is.
How many a day? 2 or 3?
I'm a 2 or 3 a day kind of. Well, I attempt a 2 or 3 a day deal, and I went through the 7 yard 30Xs. I went through those pretty quick. I think I messed up 4 or 5 games, and I make sure I'm real honest with myself. If I go out there the first arrow and I say there's a scoring end and I blank one, I shoot the rest of that game and I call it a bad game, and it doesn't count on the list, because if I cheat myself. If I cheat myself now, it's just going to show up later. And I would prefer not to ever have the anticipation again. So let's get used to aiming in the middle. The thing I've been battling so bad is a low hold. I can take that 6X lens and stop that pin about an inch underneath what I want to hit, and it doesn't move. But my bow feels like it's 1,000 pounds trying to get it to go that one last inch up there to start executing a shot. And from everything I've read and everything I've looked at, it's just it's a form of anxiety where I know that if I'm in the middle, now it's time I have to execute. And if I execute and I don't do it correctly, well, that kind of messes up my score, or I give back a point. And I'm a competitive person. Like, I'm extremely competitive. It's win or lose on everything for me. And I'm a winner is what I've always said. So it was a big deal. And learning to re-aim in the middle it's going to take time, and I know it is. 400 games, 30 arrows a smack. That's a pretty big commitment, and it may take me a year to do that. I know it's going to take a year. There's no doubt, because as I get further out, it's going to get harder and harder and harder. And 30X game at 20 yards is some serious shooting. But I'm set my mind to it, and I'm going to do it.
What's your shot process look like depending on 7 yards or 50 yards? How are you walking yourself through shooting the hinge?
It's always the same for me. Like, it doesn't matter if it's 7 or 50 or 112. It doesn't matter to me. I come in, a great big problem that I've had that I continue to fight, and I was fighting it yesterday shooting out at H&H, is if I get a little tired, I get a high shoulder bow shoulder. And if that shoulder starts creeping up, things go downhill very quickly. So part of my process, the biggest thing is when I draw my bow, I make sure I make a very over dramatic setting of my shoulders and make sure I get them where I want them. And then I come into my peep, and I always try to address the target in the same manner. I don't seem like I can stop the pin. I'd like to be able to come down and stop the pin in the middle. I just can't do it. I kind of go below the pin, and then I ease it up gradually, and that's in my head. That's okay. It's time to execute this shot. And I just slowly start, I'm building tension in my ring finger and releasing my index finger at the same time, trying to keep my hand relaxed and just pull. And then if you just keep staring at the middle, eventually it goes off.
You know, a couple 3 years back, it's not hidden. Everybody knows. I battled it too. There at the indoor nationals, I made a bad decision, and I lived with it. Went up there to shoot the indoor nationals, and I had a super clean day. It was the 5 spot, and at the flip, I hadn't dropped an X yet, and we got to the top, and that very next end, there it hit. And I remember sitting there, and I looked up, and I had 1:45 left, and I hadn't even got my first shot off yet. And so, you better start ripping it. And that back half, I dropped 14 points, not X's. So that means I didn't even hit the white 14 times. And that's what I did. I came home, and it was the craziest thing, just exactly what you're saying. I couldn't hold it up on it. And one of the guys there in my bag said, dude, he said, just crank your damn sight and just shoot it. Hold it down there. So I thought, I'm going to do that. And I did. I just cranked on it. I held down there, and then it just kept going farther and farther. My mind knew that it was going to. So I just, on the line, I just started cranking it back up, at least get it halfway close. And I left after that day, and I came home, and that's what I said. I said, I will not shoot another game until I can learn to shoot a back tension. I never did learn to shoot a back tension. I came to reality. I never did. I went 4 weeks standing blank bailing. I mean, 4 straight weeks, blank bail, put a target up, stare at it, and execute. I mean, I was all in. The first time I decided I'm going to start stepping back, I stood at 9 yards, 10 yards, somewhere right there. And I pulled back, and the first shot I went, God, all over again. And that's when I came to reality. I really did. I was like, you just got to accept it. And I've had to learn to shoot a different style shot, and I just own it. Every now and then, yep, it gets me. Yep, I do it, but I don't worry about it. I don't let the anxiety build up, because it is building. And that's what I felt in Indianapolis. I felt that building up, and I kept like, okay, don't do that. Don't do that. And the more I said that, the more it did it. And that's all I can say is I have just literally come grips to okay, I own it. I know what I did, know what it is, and I know what I own. And this is how I'm going to shoot this shot every time. And I'm a command shooter. I always was before. It just that I thought I could get over it, and I couldn't. So I've got a dozen back tensions around here somewhere, and every now and then I'll pull one out. But man, it doesn't take but about 3 ends, and my mind already understands how it's going to shoot, and then it just holds up again. So.
Yeah, I had a somewhat similar experience that really is what set me off on this. Like, I've been fighting, like I said, it's been in the back of my head since September. But down at Paris this year, I'd had a pretty good weekend, and it all came down to the last arrow, and I let one fly that wasn't very good. And it kind of cost me that situation, and I was like, that's not happening again. I'm gonna do everything I can to fix this problem. And here we are, and it's surely a battle, but it's kind of funny to me how, like last year, I had a pretty good season, and it's really when I really started enjoying shooting 3D, and as it became, I enjoyed it more. That tension started rising in my head because it became more and more important to me, and then it's funny that I think. Probably everybody, if you enjoy it and you're shooting a bow or any competitive shooting sport, you're going to experience a little bit of it. But seems like archery is a whole different, it brings it a little more than most things. I've been a competitive rifle shooter, and this is different. So it takes quite a bit more work to get it under control. That's for sure.
Yeah, I think it's because we've got such a dynamic sport. We're standing. There's so many variables, and we actually have to make movement to make it work. And and we've got full muscles going both directions, which is again different than anything else. There is just so much that we have to, and I'm a firm believer, and I've told a dozen people this. You just got to grip and get a hold of it, and when you get control of it, the first time it tries to sneak back up, stop. Get control of it. Tell your mind this, and just go back to the basics. You got to go back to the basics that very next shot and start making small steps immediately. It's the only way I can do it. And Lord knows I've punched them with the best.
You know, we've all heard the saying, the best offense is a good defense. And I've kind of brought that in. If I get under a target and I don't feel like I can get my pin to come up above it, I just let the bow down. I'm not going to sit here and fight it. I'm not going to allow myself to build the anxiety and get my heart rate up now. Like, I finally learned the discipline to just let the bow down and let's start again. And and I'm not going to lie to you. After I came home from Paris, I went out in my garage, and it took me, I drew my bow 16 times before I ever got to shoot an arrow, because I told myself I wasn't going to shoot it with any kind of anxiety. And it took 16 times, and finally my brain let go a little bit, and I got to shoot an arrow. And then the next one was a little bit better. And I made some pretty good steps out there that evening with getting everything in between my ears working properly to allow me to shoot my bow a little better.
Yeah, I think it's us. We've got to come to reality of what it is, what's happening, and learning how to make it happen.
Absolutely.
And until you can come to that, it's hard. It's dang hard. Yeah.
How long after Paris did you get the Joel Turner class?
It was probably a week.
Yep.
I sat out there and argued with myself for a little while, and then I just went on a hunt. I wanted something to fix it, like it seems like what our industry goes off of. If you don't shoot well, you go buy something to fix it, man. And instead of spending money on my bow, this time I decided to spend some money on myself. And I think it's worked. Like, it was a good thing. Now, there's some of the things that I can't, a lot of the envisioning the shot and things like that, that's not quite the way my brain works. Like, I have to know my steps and do and say what I'm going to do. And then when I say them, I'm going to do it that way. And if it doesn't work out, I'm going to let the bow down and we're going to start over again. And there's no ifs or buts. This is the way it's going.
Yeah,
that's
I'm
fair.
with you there. Absolutely. I purchased his class also, and I really liked it. I liked what I liked about it. Not trying to make this a paid advertisement, but I like knowing what's happening to me. Then I was able to fix what was happening to me in my way.
Yes, which I'm pretty fortunate with me. Like, I'm a shooter for G2 down in Ardmore, and that gives me a little bit where I can call Ryan and I can say, "Hey, Ryan, this is what I think my problem is." I can shoot him a video, and Ryan gives me straight feedback from a great shooter with an amazing attitude, where he allows me, he can give me instant feedback where I know I'm going down the right track. Or if I'm off in la land, he can kind of pull back the reins on me and say, "Hey, why don't you work on what's really the problem here?" And that's been a great thing to look at also.
Cool. Really good. Yeah.
I did the same thing after one of our local qualifiers. I think it was the gun club. Went out and had a terrible day, and I was telling him kind of what the bow was feeling like, and he's like, "You just need to come see me." And I had some people take some videos of me, and I put them together on a reel and told everybody to come shoot their bow on Sunday. And he calls me back like 3 minutes later. He goes, "Okay, I just got done watching the videos. I know what it is you're doing. Here's how we fix it." And it was an alignment issue. I was drawing the bow and then kind of coming into it, and I was already I was kind of on my front foot a little too much. Had to lean back, stand up straight, shoot strong, draw the bow all the way to my face, and had to get my alignment fixed before I could get in, because I was like, I'm just dipping low. I don't know if it's draw length, the bow too heavy. Is it a tiller tuning? Is it a timing thing? I don't know. And he goes, "Well, I need to see you." Well, luckily some people had posted some videos and some pictures and stuff like that. And I always go back to that and figure out, try to see how I look, check the form, check the alignment. Are we ducking our head down into the peep? Are we peeking up here to see the peep? Something that you're doing that you're not seeing is like it'll just be screaming to somebody that knows what they're doing. You know, Ryan's if you haven't been to one of his classes, highly recommend going, just because he'll workshop with you and he'll break it down in steps that are really manageable, and just be like, here's what you're doing, here's what you need to do. So
absolutely. That's when I decided I was going to shoot a hinge. I actually went and took Ryan's introductory to archery course, like a pretty basic, very beginner course. And I've been shooting a bow for 20 years. And I still went down there and I said, this is what I want to do. I'm decided I'm going to be a competitive archer. I want you to teach me from the get-go. And I know I'm going to have a lot of bad habits to break, but let's do it. Get me on the right foot. And that's what's really started me down this road, is going down there to Ardmore. He does a great job. If you can go to one of his classes and not be fired up about shooting your bow, like, we need to check your pulse. Like, he's a great instructor. It's a good time down there.
You hear that, Dave? You're gonna have to get in the truck.
You can drive, shoot outdoors?
No, it's indoors.
He's got 20 yards indoors.
Oh yeah. It's most definitely indoor. I'm ready for those jackpots to get started again in the winter time. Mostly because I'm ready to be done standing in the heat. But we got a few.
Now you're catching on to my world. That's right.
I had a suggestion dropped to me earlier today, because we're talking about doing some September dates for the ASA, starting 2026 early. And I just figured October and November, is deer season. And I was talking to somebody on the phone, and they said, I would run it September, October, November, take off December and January because it's real cold, and then run it February and have your state championship in May. And just don't shoot in June, don't shoot in July. If you want to go to another state, go do that. And I was like, that's a pretty good suggestion, looking at the humidity up there in Metropolis. Because, I mean, really in June, you've got, I think a few states have their championships the last weekend. You've got Metropolis. And then all of July, we've got one qualifier on the 4th of July that you don't know what the attendance will look like because it's holiday. And then 3 weeks of state championships, and then Coleman. So I'm kicking around the idea. I would love input from anybody on that, because you're not going to compete with deer hunting. I know the numbers are going to go down. When October rolls around, I'll be in the woods. But there's a lot of people that kill big deer that aren't going to go hunt many mornings. They're evenings only until mid-November. So looking at the weekends, we have pretty good weather. I mean, we could start them at 11 or noon, let the sun come up, all that kind of stuff. It might be, he might be onto something. I don't know, but it would open up some more weekends. Once the rut kicks off, though, you're not going to pull anybody out of the deer woods, except Dave. Dave doesn't deer hunt, so he's free to come shoot some 3D tournaments in November.
Only thing I would say, as a competitor, if you took June and July off, will your shooters lose an edge that they really want to keep for the national tour, for the state championships? I mean, I know when it comes to that, still getting out to other locations is a big part of the whole shooting game. So just keep that in mind. That's my 2 cents. For that is knocking off for June and July. That's kind of tough for the big group of the shooters.
Yep. They want to be fresh. I understand that. Yeah. I don't know. I would try to do it before the July heat, before the 4th of July, because so many states. I mean, the week before our state is July 18th, 19th, and 20th, I believe. It's Friday, Saturday, Sunday. The week before, I'm going to hit Arkansas and Kansas. The week after, I'm going to hit Missouri and Texas. So, and then we go to Coleman. So it's like, there's plenty of shooting in July. If we have our, I don't know. Give everybody a chance to go to some other state championships.
Sounds like a poll for the website and social media, and let the group of the shooters make the call.
Oh, I can already hear them complaining now. I can hear it.
Listen to them and make notes as to what they say. I don't have a dog in the hunt, but I'm just saying I would listen to the shooters.
This is not a democracy. This is a dictatorship.
Oh, come on, man.
You're going to show up and like it or don't show up. Those are your only options.
Now, don't do that.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, the reason we get to start them in the fall is because some of the northern states like Wisconsin and New York and all those places, they're still froze over under snow in May. So they get 2 or 3 qualifiers in June and a state championship in July, and that's their whole year's 4 weekends. So they're going to get them started in, September, October, November, those kind of, because that's when their weather will allow it. But me being the opportunistic person was like, yeah, if they can do it, why can't we?
Why not do both?
Fair's fair.
Why not run that many more just shoots?
Well, I don't know. Maybe. Who knows? I can't. There's only 52 weekends in a year, Dave, and we got 23 qualifiers of them now. I think we're
playing devil's advocate. But if you had a few there, would it bring in travelers from other states that might qualify for your state and raise your state numbers?
I would like some more qualifications. They usually send us an email that tells you how many shooters qualified for your state. So when I see the attendance numbers for state, it's not just total number. How many did we get? It's how many did we get qualified, and how many of that number showed up. So it's a batting average kind of thing for me. Because if I get the list and I can find them on Facebook, I might go down the list one at a time. Hey man, just making sure we're going to see you at state. They're like, who's this guy? Why is he emailing my kid? It's like, oh, I'm sorry. I didn't realize they were 12 years old. My bad. Shouldn't have got them an email address. But just stuff like that. It's like, did you invite them? Did you make sure and reach out to them? It's like, hey, I see that you're qualified. Is there any way we can twist your arm into coming down here? Just that kind of thing. But I think the biggest part is going to other states' championships before ours. So like, I'm going to go Friday night, July 11th out to Arkansas. And it's on the far side of Arkansas. It's about 7 hours from Oklahoma City. And we're going to show up there Saturday and say, hey, everybody, next weekend, that's our state championship. If you're qualified, we'd love to see you there. Shoot 30 targets, lay a monster score down, go back 7 hours to Kansas State on Sunday. Say, hey, everybody, hope we see you all next weekend, blah, blah, blah. And then a quick 3.5 hour drive home. So it's going to be a brutal weekend. But when other states see you show up to support them, I think it's the trickle down. Like we went to Kansas, Dakota Hubbard and I last year, we went up to Kansas Saturday and all the way down to Texas Sunday. And it was way down in Texas, and saw a bunch of those people a week later. I was a walking zombie by the time our state was over, but and then Arkansas was the week after that. So they all kind of swap around, but I just like the idea of doing ours just a little bit earlier and then free up July. If you want to go roast in the heat, you can, but 30 targets is a lot more than 20. So I know that's a consideration. And I think that last year our state championship had such good numbers because the weather was like 80 degrees. I mean, we had like a brief rain shower and it was 85 at the most. I don't think it touched 90. So if we don't get lucky this year, it might be back down around reasonable number. I don't know.
Yeah.
Thinking out loud.
That's what we're doing here. Dave, what do you think?
I got news for you. October, November, I'm busy. I've got deer to kill. And I'm not like Neil. I don't kill them the first day. I never can. Like, it takes me a while to find them. And yeah, it takes me a while to find them, and it takes me a while to kill them typically. And some years I don't even get them killed. So November and October, I'm pretty deadgum busy, but I might be able to sneak out of a stand every now and then to shoot a qualifier if there's one around.
You might stop and shoot one on the way.
I am a big fan of being where I need to be in the morning time.
Yeah. I was a big morning hunter until I talked to Chris Hammond and Josh Jacobson, and they're like, "Don't you go between the bed and the corn in the morning? Don't do it." I was like, "But that's where I kill the deers at." They come in, I shoot them. What else do you want?
Yeah, I'm a big travel route guy. I hunt out of the saddle, and I'm in a different tree almost every day. So I like to move.
So you before you got on the compound train, you were pretty big into the stick bow world.
I mean, I was big in my own little world with stick bows. Let me say that. I haven't hunted with a compound bow in 15 years. I've hunted the deer with a self bow from then on, and a bow that I've made for the last 10 years is the way that is. And I kind of got bored with shooting deer with compound, to be honest. It got to where it kind of lost some of the vigor for me. I like to have to get them within 15 yards. I'm not a very good shot, like we've talked about. They've got to be close for me to shoot them with a stick. And it's been a challenge, and I really enjoyed it. And this year I'm stepping back into the compound. I'm going to try that. I don't even know why, really. I've still got my bow, but I'm gonna. And I've got 2 buck tags, so we'll see how that goes.
Yeah. Call it a midlife crisis.
I hope this isn't midlife, but maybe.
Who's the oldest welder you know?
Whoa, let's not talk about that. I'm not very old, unfortunately.
I was gonna say I ain't never seen one gray headed.
No.
You got some of your harvests behind you there?
Yeah, there's a couple back there. The whitetail there, that's actually last year's deer. I got him on. He's a public land deer up in Oklahoma. And then the mule deer behind me is he came from Wyoming, out in the flatlands. We went on pronghorn hunt, and I got pretty tired of sitting at water holes, and I started hiking around in the mountains, and I had a tag with me, so I decided to bring him home also.
He got confused and took a wrong turn, did he?
Yeah. He got a little comfortable in his bed, and I put the old super stock on him. So
the double X75 Super Slam.
Yeah.
2219.
Oh, that one was a cedar shaft with a Zwicky head on. That's what got him. Yeah.
There you go. What would you say your effective range with a self bow would be? I mean, are you 20 and under? Are you 30 and under?
I like them close. I would rather stick it in them and then let the string go, to be honest with you. That's about the only way to get it for sure hit. But, I've always been real comfortable at 20 and in. The bows are slow, man. I mean, I'm shooting a big, heavy arrow, and I'm not getting 200 feet per second out of it. I get just a touch under 200 feet per second out of it. And I don't think – I shot at a deer last year at 21 yards. And he absolutely saw the arrow coming, ducked, ran 3 steps, and then the arrow went by him. It was embarrassing. And it was a pretty good one. And I laid there and cried a little bit. But we move on, and I felt very confident in taking the shot, and the arrow went exactly where it was supposed to go, but big old slow bow, and he kind of moved a lot. So the deer, both of those deer back there, both of them were shot closer than 15 yards. The whitetail, I shot him at 12 yards, and then the mule deer, I shot him at 13 and a half is what it was. So that's where I like them. I like them close.
Hey, that's the way to do it. I know everybody wants to shoot 80, 90, 100 yards with a compound. I like to see how close we can get to them. Like
Absolutely.
I want to see the eyelashes. I want to see the heartbeat under the fur right as that arrow goes in there. I mean, it's
a lot different when they're close. Shooting at 90 yards, 100 yards, I mean, I've got high-powered rifles if I want to do that. It's I like to get close. That's what adds. It's what makes it fun to me. Is let's have some play cat and mouse and see who can get close. And so that's what I've been trying to do for the last few years.
What all states are you looking to hunt this year?
Well, I tell you what, I had a bad year drawing, that's for sure. I've been pretty big on the over counter in Colorado, and unfortunately, they've done away with that. I do have a South Dakota mule deer tag, which was where I missed that mule deer last year, so that'll be fun. I'm tried the second draw in Colorado. We'll see how that turns out, and everything else I whiffed. I put in for one unit in New Mexico every year, and their random draw stuff, it's so hard. I've been trying for 12 years out there. I've been out there 3 times with other people and helped them kill real good bulls for elk, and I just can't seem to get the draw. And so with life, I didn't quite put in as much as in many states I usually do, but we'll definitely be in Oklahoma. I'm working on a deal in Texas that I should be able to go down there and hunt a little bit. I didn't draw a Kansas tag, but that was on me. I filled out the application wrong. I knew I wasn't going to do that. I goofed up. But so it'll be South Dakota, Oklahoma, and Texas is what it looks like.
It's a pretty good hit list.
Yeah, it's going to be okay. I haven't killed an elk in Oklahoma in a few years, and I'm pretty big on. I've been doing a lot of searching around, and I've been hanging gates for some farmers, and I've been doing everything I can to get myself into an Oklahoma bull elk, and maybe I can play that card this year. Is what I'm hoping to do.
It'll be a good one down there. You're in the right part of the state for it.
Oh yeah. I'm out on Fort Sill quite a bit, and they've got 4 bulls out there that are just absolutely monsters that walk around in right through the middle of posts all the time. Like we went to the PX the other day, which to go get some Charlie subs, and here they come walking by 150 yards through the middle of post to lay under a tree. And they're good ones. There's 3 bulls, all of them are over 350. They're big.
Golly. That make you sick.
Yeah.
Gotta get on there and stick one of them.
Oh yeah, there's a lot of them out there, and there is some quality elk out there. For Oklahoma, body size is a little smaller here than what you see in the mountain. They're up in Colorado or Wyoming, but antler wise, they're starting to get some age on them out here, and they're really starting to take off. It surprises me what I've seen the last few years.
Is that because it's a newer herd? So you don't have the genetic makeup, or they just haven't?
I think it's management practices, to be honest with you. Now, I've been pretty fortunate, and I've got to go on a few hunts out on the refuge, helping people carry elk out. And matter of fact, every year I volunteer to do that, just to go out there as somebody who maybe is not physically able to pack an elk out and they need some help or anything like that. I'll go out and help them. And so I've got to tromps around through the wildlife refuge quite a bit on those hunts. There's a lot of big elk out there that die from old age. It will surprise you, some of the elk they've grown old, and the management practices are getting so much better that we're really starting to see quality elk out there. Not just a lot of numbers, but people have kind of grown accustomed to. They quit shooting the 3 and 4 and 5 year olds, and there's a lot of 6 and 7 year old bulls out there, and they look good. And that's it's fun to go drive around through the refuge in a nice evening.
Are these transplant elk, or are they just naturally migrated down there?
I believe that all these were brought in from another state in the 1920s. It's been quite a while since I've went out to the refuge. They've got that'll tell the whole story. Mm-hmm. But I know the Tennessee Valley Authority did a lot of work out there, and I think that's when they brought them in, is when they started to really do some picking up on the refuge during the late 20s, early 30s, I think. And I may have my dates wrong there, but they were transplanted in for sure.
What would you what advice would you give to somebody if they haven't, if the elk hunting's never been their thing, if they hadn't ever chased an Oklahoma elk? How would they get started? Like, what are the 3 most important things?
to me, I think, and it gets overlooked a lot, is this isn't a deer. You better have some sharp knives, and I mean knives, plural. 2 years ago, I got to go help a gentleman, and he'd shot a pretty nice 6x6 bull. And he called me and said, my help didn't show up. Can you come? I said, absolutely. I show up out there. He got a nice bull down, and we're 4 miles from the pickup. And he pulls out a 4-inch blade case Skinner that doesn't look like it'd been sharpened since the late 80s. And he starts hacking on this elk. And I was like, we're going to be here all day. And I've seen it before, and I take some knives with me, and I was able to help him, and we get it done. And so sharp knives, number one on the list, plural, a few of them. It's not fun carrying around knives all day long, but if you're successful, you want to make sure you take care of that meat as well as you can. And with our Oklahoma weather, this was a January hunt, and it was cool in the morning, but in the afternoon, it's not a big deal to hit 50 degrees. And 50 degrees in the sunshine, a big-bodied animal like that meat will turn on you pretty quick if you don't get it broken down and hung up, or at least laid out to where it can cool. And so that's something that I'm really big on. Like, I'm all about killing big trophy animals, but I eat every bit of them. And I mean, like, I make pickled deer tongue. I eat every bit of them. That's just the way I was raised. And don't knock it till you try it, Neil. But so I've always been big on that, is make sure you have the right stuff to take care of your animal. Bring a tarp, bring game bags, bring some rope. You get a 500-pound bull down on the ground. You can't just kind of hold his legs open to do, whenever you're taking care of the meat. Maybe you got to tie a leg back to a tree or something like that. Like, the little things, the trips, they really help.
What else you got? What would you say 2 and 3 are?
Don't wear brand new boots, especially on the hunt and the refuge. I see a whole lot of brand new Crispies show up that aren't broke in very well. And I see a whole lot of people hobbling around at the middle of the day when I'm looking at them through binoculars. And so, like, wear your boots a lot. I've probably seen more deer or more elk killed in tennis shoes than I have Crispy boots. And people are comfortable. They can move well. They've got good grips. I think it's a good idea. Everybody's probably read their stories from him, but Eddie Claypool used to be a prolific writer for Peterson's Hunting and Bow Hunting magazine, and I've been blessed to know him for a couple years now. And he hunted in white tennis shoes with long johns and shorts on most of the time, and he's killed some of the biggest elk I've seen. And he's got piles of them that he's killed all through the 80s and 90s hunting like that. And he really opened my eyes to the situation. You don't have to have fancy boots and fancy clothes. You have to have a work ethic, really, is what it takes to go out and kill these elk.
There you go. How about number 3?
Binoculars, good glass. I spend my move in every hunt I go to is I try to find as much elevation as I can find, and I'm going to sit up there and I'm going to watch and see what I can see. And I've got some pretty good binoculars. They're nothing crazy. But I do have some 15 by 56 binoculars that I put on a tripod, and it allows me to look and see what I can see. And so I'll go up and just sit on a rock or sit up by a tree. And sometimes I take my saddle and I'll climb in a tree that's got some elevation behind it and just spend the whole afternoon, morning glassing and seeing where these animals are, and then trying to make a move instead of just stomping off through everything, trying to figure it out, It's a lot easier to sneak up on animals when they don't know you're there.
Work smarter, not harder.
Absolutely.
Have you ever been up there and got a shot out of the saddle, or is it just for glassing only?
There's been a couple times where I've had opportunities just randomly. I just guessed the right tree that day, but it's not a common thing. And I've never actually shot an animal on one of them scouting deals. Now, sometimes you get in their place, you're like, hey, this is a pretty good looking spot. They'll be close, but I'm pretty timid on filling my tag too early. I like to really know what's around before I ever go really hunting real hard.
So you do take your bow up in the saddle with you.
Oh, yes.
It's not at the base of the tree.
No, it's up there, but it hasn't been used in that situation yet.
There you go. I was like, how well does a stick bow fit out of a saddle setup? Pretty good.
Yeah, no, not really.
Really?
It's not a. It works is about the best I can say. I usually only have. I don't like trimming trees. I don't like. I like to be in nature with nature. I don't want to cut alleyways so I can shoot my bow through out of this tree. I try to get up somewhere. I think that deer is going to show up 10 yards right there on that trail. I'm going to have one spot to shoot that deer, and I'm going to have to make it work right there because, my self bow, it's a pretty big bow, and getting everything working just right. I usually only have one option, and I'll hang out in a tree until it works.
What's the length on it? I was going to say axle. What's the axle to axle on that bow?
Yeah. I haven't found the axles on it yet, to be honest. I don't remember installing them, but it's 72. It's 6 foot bow.
Oh my gosh. So everybody out there shooting their lift 29.5s and their sequel 31s.
Yeah.
Go on, get you a full length bow and see what you can do in a tree.
Well, I challenge myself because I like to be challenged. I was fortunate. My dad blessed me with a great childhood, and I started shooting deer with a bow when I was 11 years old. As soon as I could pull a 45-pound bow, that's when I started shooting deer with bow, and my dad provided me with a lot of opportunities. We had a deer lease in South Texas. We had land in Southwest Oklahoma, and after 10 or so years of shooting just about everything that walked by me, I needed a little more of a challenge.
Everybody grows out of it at a certain period.
Oh, absolutely.
For me, it was 30 years old, something like that. I used to just hunt until I saw a deer, run an arrow through it, cut it up, throw it in the cooler.
Yeah.
And never occurred to me that you can wait and let that deer walk by and another one will walk by. It's like they're lived in the woods or something. I don't know. Shoot the first one I see and the second, third, and fourth one I see.
Absolutely.
One and done every sit. They're like, how do you go down there behind the house and kill a deer 5 out of 6 sits? It's like, well, shoot the first one you see. If it's inside 40 yards, why wouldn't you?
Yeah.
The game changes for everybody at different times. And that's not saying, if that deer's a trophy to you, send an arrow at it.
Absolutely.
You have my blessing.
I think everything, any deer that you kill, if it makes you happy, go after it. That's what matters, and I'm pretty conservation minded. Like, I still manage doe populations pretty heavily. I fill all my doe tags every year at one of my places I hunt. I mean, that's just, they have to go, in my opinion, and they go into my freezer. But when it comes to shooting bucks, I shot a deer. The second deer I shot last year, he was 125-inch 8-point. That he was 5.5 years old. He'd reached his genetic potential. He wasn't getting any bigger. I'd seen him for 2 years, and he was a big-bodied, mean deer. I've watched him run multiple other deer off, and my daughter was with me in the deer stand. This is the first time she'd ever been in a deer stand with me. And he happened to walk by, and it was a bad day. She wanted me to, she was like, "Hey, we went deer hunting. We need to shoot a deer, Daddy." And I said, "Well, there he is." And he walked by, and by God, we took a deer home that afternoon.
Like a gladiator.
That's it. She put the thumb down, and I put the hammer down. So but it was a great time. I got to spend it with my daughter, and she'll never forget that. The first time she sat in a deer stand, she watched her dad shoot a poking young deer. And he wasn't a monster, but he makes me happy, and he really makes her happy, which that poor deer, his head's painted pink with sparkles on it, hanging in her room right now. But
is she gonna hunt herself this year, or is she gonna watch you another year?
I think we've been practicing. Of course, she's not big enough to shoot a bow, or a bow strong enough to hunt with, but she's talking about hunting, and I want her to be comfortable with it. I love taking her out. I love her coming with me. She sat with me in the deer stand, which for 3 years, 4 years now, I've rifle hunted for the sole purpose of taking my daughter with me. Like, I don't rifle hunt. I have no desire to rifle hunt, but my daughter wants to go deer hunting. We're going to rifle hunt and we're going to figure it out. And we did. And last year she was big enough to hunt in tree stands. So we went bow hunting, and we didn't rifle hunt last year. But I think she's getting more comfortable with the idea of actually hunting. And whenever she makes that decision, I won't shoot another one. Like, that'll be it. Like, I'll watch her shoot them from here on out. I'll just do all the work and show her where to go.
It's pretty good. My first time my dad took me out hunting, we used to save our brass because he was always determined to reload some 30-30 shells. And we pulled that box out and we had all the shot brass all the way, and pulled that box all the way out. And that entire case was full of empties. Not one live round, not a one. So, had to just sit there and watch them all night. Yeah. So make sure you bring actual live rounds with you. The best advice I can give to you there.
Yeah.
Guys, y'all keep rolling. I've got to go. Neil, I sent you a text.
Okay.
Yeah.
Dave's out. He has heard enough 3D and deer stories. There you go. So if you hadn't tried target archery, before, if you're just a backyard hero, what would you tell somebody to get into target archery? How's it better prepare you to be in the woods, and what can you gain as an archer from it?
Heck, last year when I showed up to the shoot at Trosper, I had to ask you what class I was going to be in. I don't know if you remember that or not, but I did. I didn't know exactly what class I was going to be in. I knew I had a hunter setup, but I had a movable sight, and that kind of, the way the rules read, I didn't really understand, but it's brought on a lot of things. If you can consistently hit a 5-inch circle at 40 yards, it's going to make you a pretty good hunter. That's getting after it. Like the 145 class, which is what I shot last year. I feel like it's great for these guys that coming out with hunting bows. They can bring their movable sights. They can move the exact setup, and it puts some pressure on you. Like, no matter who you are, if you're in that environment, you want to do well, you want to shoot well. Nobody wants to be embarrassed. So you're going to have those feelings, the little creepers of what if I miss this and what if I miss that. I think it's a great opportunity to put yourself in the right mindset to be successful harvesting animals also, because everybody's felt buck fever. That's mainly why we do it, I feel like.
Yeah.
And shooting a competition round, maybe the first arrow is not a big deal, but that 20th one, when them 3 other guys you're shooting with are beating you by 1 or 2 points, and with a good solid 12, you can win. It puts you in the right mindset.
Yeah. And a clarification point on that, I think it takes between 3 and 5 actual tournaments to really start competing. Like, what I mean by that is the first ASA I ever shot, it was with Jason Marks and Dan Gaston and my dad. I knew they had uppers and lowers. I knew we weren't shooting center 12s, but I didn't realize that they were diagonal. I thought it was just upper and lower of the 12. And he's like, man, you got good elevation. You're just right on it. You're just right off the side of them. Every time, I don't think I called any uppers, but I didn't realize they were on a diagonal slant, because I don't even know if I brought binoculars, really. So your first couple times out of the gate, you're just learning the targets, you're learning the format, you stand on the stake, figure out what color it is, you're just kind of getting your feet wet. And then 3 or 4 times in, you know where those rings are, you know what a good score is, what a bad score is. Then the gears are starting to turn as far as competition wise. And that's when the nerves set in. So that's your true. Yeah. You need a half dozen of them before, I'm not saying you have to hit all 22 qualifiers in the state championship in a year, but if you come out and if you feel like you're kind of lost, like I had a buddy named Dalton Martin, and we were shooting indoor with him last year, and he came out to I think Choctaw's qualifier, and I shot the round with him, and he might have known what to do the entire time, but I was just in his ear the whole time. All right, here's that arrow down there. It's kind of left. You want to fade it right, put it on 33, but give it an extra half yard, and aim at the top of it, follow through it, and that kind of thing, just to explain the strategy of it, because the upper and lower game, is the true beauty of the ASA. Like you can shoot center 10 all day long and shoot a perfect 200 out of 200, and that's not going to get you anywhere. I mean, you're going to get, if there's 10 guys in your class and you shoot a 200, you might get 7th.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's how aggressive do you want to be at it? How much do you want to aim at the 12? Like me, I'm aiming at every one of them. If it's 19 yards or 46 and a half, no matter what, I'm aiming right dead in the middle of them, because that's what I saw Miles Blair do. I mean, I saw him shoot a low arrow once on a javelina at 50 yards. And I mean, it's 12, 8, 5, that much distance. And I was like, just missed an inch low at 50 yards. Where were you aiming? He goes, right in the middle of it, right in the middle of the lower. It's not a game to see how close you can come to them. It's a game to see how many of them you can hit. So I always try to encourage people. It's like, man, don't just try it twice and be like, it's not for me. Because if you've only tried it 2 rounds, man, you're really just getting into it. And you hit, dude, you and Landry in 145 last year. That was the greatest head-to-head battle that Oklahoma ASA has ever seen.
Me and Landry did have a good time last year, and I mean, it turned out to be real fun. It ran all the way out to the last few shots at the state competition, to be honest.
Oh yeah,
we had.
And then both of you are shooting long bars this year, so
yeah, I just, to be honest with you, last year in 145, I shot center 10s all year long. That's what I aimed for, and I started, once I got pretty comfortable with shooting center 10s, I would take a half a yard off and aim to their side of the lower, but I still shot at the center mark. I mean, it's just like, you don't have any glass, so you can't really see everything you're shooting. And so I just played it safe and let it go. And every now and then I'd hit one. And then some days I'd hit a few of them. And then some days I'd shoot all 5s. Like, that's just how it goes down the hill,
Yeah. It's part of the game. They don't call me Nickel Neal for nothing. You're gonna, if you're down there aiming at them, you're right on the 8 line, and the 8 line's not much above the 5 line. So 1 weak shot, miss set sight, dip bang, not following through. That was my biggest problem this last weekend at Indiana's. I realized I would break and the bow would go down, and break and the bow would go down. And we were shooting last night down there, shooting indoor at H&H. And I was really trying to think about break it and get that arrow all the way there. And I shot a 293, but I shot 18 X's. I'm like, I'm usually in the single digits for an X count on a Vegas face. Like, that's twice as many as I was expecting to shoot. And when you have that last little second of break, it come right back, and breaks over here, it comes back up here. You just let your eyes do the work for you, and if you put a strong shot on it, you're gonna like where it lands.
We talked about it earlier, how me and you were the only one shooting the Exodus Pros, and that's part of the reason why I like that bow, is it gives me some feedback and tells me what I'm doing. Like, if I follow through real good with a clean break, that bow tries to jump out of my hands straight away from me. It's not dead. It gives you some feedback. It lets you know if you're doing when you're doing things right, boy, it feels good. It scares you. It's trying to jump away from you a little bit, and okay, that was a good clean break. It gives you a little bit of feedback into yourself to know that you're doing things right. Where you shoot some of these other bows, everybody's talking about dead in the hands, dead in the hands, dead in the hands. Well, yeah, it's dead in the hands. Boy, there's a fly killing me over here. But if it's dead in the hands, you don't know where your mistakes are. If you shoot, you can get a bad break and bow tries to jump to the left. Well, now you know where your problem lies. Where if it's always dead in the hands, people like me, I'm out guessing. I don't know what's wrong. I'm just trying to figure this game out. It's been so.
Is that part of where you mounted that laser on your riser?
Yeah, I did. There is a laser mount on my riser, but it's really there for my Manus to show my stability is what I really bought that for. Mm-hmm. But I do like watching. I set up a target at 20 yards, and I'll set up that laser, and it will show me after I shoot my follow through idea. They're like what I'm doing, because I'm real bad about when I pull break and I'll push that bow way off to the left instead of straight at the target. Mm-hmm. And if I start doing that, it causes a few different things I've noticed, but I can set up that laser and look at it and, oh, well, that's my mistake. There's my problem. Quit doing that. And it's real simple. I'm a very analytical person. I like to figure out how to diagnose a problem and know. And then it's black and white from there for me. Like if I do that, this is going to happen. If I do this, this is going to happen.
Yeah. I thought it was interesting because I knew what the Mantis mount was, but you said you'd put a laser on it and then use your video camera to record as that shot breaks where that dips and comes back up, or if it gets shoved out right or left, one direction or the other. And you see those micro movements. It's like, where was it when it broke and what direction did it come back? Am I putting Bojitsu, putting the English on it, giving it nothing, get up there when it breaks.
We try to tune these bows to give us as much forgiveness as we can get out of them. So sometimes you'll break a shot that should have been an 8 or an 8-9 line all day long, and it magically makes itself over there into the 10 ring. And I don't want to rely on the forgiveness of my bow. I want to rely on myself, and maybe that forgiveness shows up and helps me. But I would prefer to practice, make things right. And that's just another way that I've thought of to come up with. Like I've gotten a hooter shooter here at my house, and another thing that I've gotten for the sole purpose of proving my arrows. Everybody talks about knock tune and group tune and this and that. And if I run those arrows through a hooter shooter and they all shoot in the same hole at 50 yards, well, there's not a lot of excuses in that anymore. Now it's time, if I miss, we all know who to point the finger at, and I like that concept. I like to know that it's my fault whenever I do miss.
Yeah. So shoot them and pull and shoot them and pull and shoot them and pull, or just shoot all 12 at the same hole.
Oh no, you can't. Now you have to shoot one, go pull it. Shoot one, go pull it. And like at 50 yards with my bow set up right now, I feel like the only thing I'll shoot one ragged hole out of it. Like I've got 11 arrows, and they'll all shoot within a hole, like dime-sized group at 50 yards. Mm-hmm. The only thing I think that makes the hole ragged is just the aiming. And a hooter shooter getting down there and aiming that bow super precisely. Yeah, it's holding perfectly still, but your peep alignment, it doesn't take much to mess those things up. But those bows will outshoot us so much that anybody talking that, oh, my bow's out of tune and that's why I missed, well, I have a hard time believing some of that stuff.
Have you tried your Exodus without a string stop?
Yes, I did not enjoy it at all.
Okay. Because we're talking about getting more feedback, and they're like, take the string stop off. I'm like, never.
That was pretty aggressive feedback. That was vibration. It was bad.
Yeah.
I don't think I
won't do it.
It'll rattle the screws out of one, man. It is rough.
Oh yeah, 100%. Mine actually doesn't come out. It's 5-minute epoxied in there. So the only way it's coming out is with a hacksaw. Cut it off flush. Mine. It seemed like they were kind of bad. I took mine out and I ground a flat spot on it and put it back in. Mm-hmm. And that way, because it sounded like them set screws kept backing out. And I was worried about Loctiting them in there, because sure enough, I Loctite them in there and I'll do something drastic and it'll be touching my string. And then so I pulled it out and put a flat spot on it to where it could really bite real well. And I haven't had any issues since then. It's helped quite a bit. There you go. Well, any advice before we hop off here? If you're brand new to target archery, what would you tell them is the number one thing to do?
Just enjoy it. We do this to have fun. Like I personally don't know anybody that shoots a bow as much as I do. And I just shoot a lot of reps, a lot of reps. And I try to work with a purpose to practice every day. But some days you have a bad day, and archery is my hobby. Like, I don't want to go out there and think about, am I breaking these shots perfectly clean? I go out there just to shoot my bow, and I enjoy it. And I'll take an hour and I'll shoot, I might shoot 200 arrows and just get after it and have a good time, and enjoying it's the main thing. Don't get so wound up in doing well and scoring well, and none of that matters. I mean, I'm not Levi Morgan. I'm never going to be Levi Morgan, and I know that. But I do want to be as good as I can be. So, but it takes, it takes the fun out of it if you put too much into it. That's for sure. You got to enjoy it.
Yeah,
is the best thing I can say.
I say I've gone to every national tournament that's in the North American continent except Reading, and I suck there just as much there as I suck at home. Yeah. When I get target panic is in my own backyard. When I like tonight, I'm going to go out and check my marks at Trosper because I think the wind's laying down. And that's when I get nervous because I know that I'm out of time. If I need to make a change, I have to do it now. It's got to be today. And that's when I really start breaking poor quality shots. It's not the big tournament. Those suck all the time, no matter what. No big deal. It's just another day at the office. But when I'm going out there and I know that I'm getting in the car and driving 9 hours to Metropolis tomorrow, and I got 1 day left to figure out if the bow's hitting or if we need to swap sight tapes or flip it over or move the needle somewhere, that's when it starts getting a little dicey. So that's what I'm looking forward to.
Yeah.
What's the next couple tournaments you're going to hit?
Oh, I didn't travel as much this year at the state qualifiers. I kind of set my family's been busy, and I told myself I wasn't going to drive more than 3 hours of qualifier, which there's not a whole lot of them, 3 or less than 3 hours from where I live down here in Southwest Oklahoma, but I made a few. But so I'm going to go to I'm going to go to Kansas, and I'm going to shoot Texas. We did qualify for those, so I'm going to make it to both of those. I'd like to be going to Metropolis, but work wouldn't allow me to get off this week, so I'll be here practicing in the backyard. And then, of course, our state. And I don't know what after that. I'm going to try to make Coleman for sure. I've got some unfinished business with Open 40 that I feel like I need to get out of at a national level, if that makes any sense. Oh, yeah. I've been beat pretty bad at Foley, and I did a little bit better at Minden. And if I can keep that upward progress on the score sheets, I think everything might turn out okay.
That's what I tell people. One day you're going to have your best day on the scorecards. And the only obligation you have to yourself is to make sure that it's not in your backyard. I'm number one out of 1 people. Like, go be number 1 out of 200 dudes. Like, I went to that Wabash Orange Dot shoot over the weekend, and Blake Jerome took first, dropped 7 points. Matt Pollock's a known pro. He was in the Adult Male Freestyle. Dan Button, if anybody y'all have ever met Dan, he's the nicest dude. A crazy good shot. I mean, he shot like 24 and 28 up in Metropolis with us a couple years ago. No way these guys should be in my class. But I went and competed with every daggum one of them, and I ended up middle of the pack like every other turn. Good day, bad day, doesn't matter. Middle of the pack. I know my role, as Greg Poole says. Know your role. It's like, yeah, I'm just here to make the top half possible. But go test yourself against it, because if I would have had the craziest day and only dropped 5 points and won the whole thing, man, you want to be there amongst your peers. You want to find the best peers you can and go compete against them. And if they beat you 9 times out of 10, you still got that one fighting chance. And
hey, I mean, you're not going to win if you're not there. That's a fact. You got to go try. And everybody says, like, it's not about winning them. Everybody wants to go and compete and have a good time. But I have the best time at all these shoots. We've got a great group of people from Oklahoma, and we travel all over the nation. And I have a great time every year, or every single tournament we go to.
Oh yeah, so I talked to the G2 guys. It was Josh and Ryan and Kyle and Quinn on the way up, and I was driving to work, and they were driving to the Pro-Am. And just like, I'm not leaving till tomorrow, but it almost feels like I was going. It's like that energy that they're just going to compete. We're going to get there early in practice. It's like, man, I wish I was going a day early. I'd like to practice, but no, got to work, got to make that money, got to keep the criminals out of jail, or alternatively in jail for less time than.
Today's one of the few days I actually had to do some welding, and I was under the hood sweating real bad. Oh, that humidity was rough. And I was like, man, if I got all this done today, I could probably get in that pickup and make Metropolis if I really got after it. And I sat there and thought about it, and finally I was like, no, we got to do adult things. I can't just run off to every bow shoot in the world.
Hey, me and Chipley aren't leaving until 12:30 or 1 tomorrow. So get down there first light and get it done and hop in the truck with Chipley and come meet me.
Boy, I have a wife that has other feelings about that I probably need to stay home this weekend, unfortunately.
All right. Well, let Brad Yules go win Open 40 then.
Well, I sure hope he does. We get all the representation from Oklahoma we can get, man.
I'm ready to see an Oklahoma sweep on the podium. I don't know which one, but I think it'd be. I'm thinking K45, me, Dustin, and Easton up there. Oh yeah,
that would look real good.
Two of them are capable of doing it. Me, I'm not gonna know till 2. Somebody text me in 2 hours and see if I'm on suicide watch or not. Because if this bow goes out there and doesn't hit, and I got to drive tomorrow, man, it's gonna be a fun time. But we got the draw length close. I think I got the release where it's not going to hit me in the teeth. And man, we're just going to go give it a
heck yeah.
I shot it with the draw length too long out of Foley, right out of the box. Didn't do nothing to it. Just threw it together and went, and thing was hitting great. So
oh boy, you got after it at Foley, man.
Yeah, man. Squeeze a little magic out of it.
That
was on no sleep too.
That
so
was
apparently I need to stay up all night. That's what I need to do.
There you go.
So
I don't think that's the best game plan, but I mean, you could try it.
Well, there's casinos in Metropolis, so you can stay up all night and actually get something done.
There you go.
Yeah, buddy. So,
probably a better way to make money than shooting archery. I'll tell you that. My goodness.
Oh yeah. If y'all need me at Metropolis after the sun goes down, I will be at the blackjack table at the Metropolis Casino Hotel and Restaurant. That's where I'll be. Donating my money. Blackjack dealer named Crystal. She busts us up pretty good, except for when Steve Wingo's making fun of her. We usually win when he makes fun of her, and when he leaves, she beats us.
She takes it all back.
Yep, and then he comes back and makes fun of her, and we win a few. So that was a good story. If you haven't heard that one, I'll tell you all that one sometime. Anybody going to Metropolis, Oklahoma dinner Saturday at something bar and grill? What did I say in that? Go look at the Facebook group. It's I don't know what's the best. Good.
I'm trying to block out all the Metropolis posts and they hurt my feelings right now.
Oh no,
I got a bad case of the FOMO, man. I don't like missing out on anything.
I don't even see my post. I give up. We're going to look at the ASA group, see if it's on there. We're going to dinner at 6 o'clock after the Saturday shoot-offs are over or whenever. It's come and go 6 p.m. I'll post the address in there. But it's just a good chance for everybody to get together. You know, you go to the Pro-Ams and you're so busy you don't see any of your friends, and then you get home and you're like, man, I spent the weekend with a bunch of strangers. Yeah. And they had to listen to all my bad jokes. God damn.
Yep.
Well, David, thank you for sitting down with us, and congrats on winning the State Unmarked 3D. I know we're going to keep everybody posted on where they can go to some more OSAA State Championships. There's 6 every year. We got the 900 coming up next. That'll be in early September, I believe, at Trosper.
Broadhead's next, isn't it?
Broadhead's next in August.
It's in August. Yeah,
I've killed many brain cells in my life.
Yeah. We'll get Broadhead, and then we'll go to the 900 in September.
There you go. State Broadhead will be also at Trosper mid-August. It's a good shoot. One year I punched myself in the face with it with a wrist rocket release last time I shot it. That was extra fun. I got to shoot with Bobby and Drake Johnson. That was a good time. Somebody got it in super slow motion video. They got it on live stream with the podcast, and Dave put it in super slow motion, frame by frame. Pop, 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 bam. That was wrong.
Got you good,
David. And then the State 900, and then it'll be indoor again in the wintertime. So 6 state championships every year. It's like $50 to be a member, and each one of them costs $20. So pretty cheap, fun to go have. Well, David, thank you for sitting down with us, and everybody else, safe trips to Metropolis, and we'll see y'all out there.
All right, I sure appreciate your time, Neil.
Appreciate it, man.